Previously on Libel the Bible.
Rusty tries muscling in on my dad joke territory.
Once again, Scott is embarrassed by my expression of love for him.
Trump's indicted again.
Is this a new again?
Yeah, again.
Scott drops some knowledge about how shit Indianapolis is, from its dumb name to its dumb location.
Rusty makes fun of cancer patients.
I'm an equal opportunity kind of asshole.
Speaking of assholes, Yahweh makes a covenant with David.
The Ark electrocutes people on its way to Jerusalem.
David asks Yahweh to guarantee his legacy.
David's peacocking turns off Micah.
And now, episode 85 of Libel the Bible.
All right, we're going.
Hi, I'm Scott.
I'm Rusty.
And we got rushed right onto the air because Rusty has points to make.
I got inspired. We decided to turn on the air conditioning in the studio. It's really muggy today. And we started talking about eco modes on air conditioners.
Yeah.
And that made me think of Europeans. And now fucking I hate them. No, I don't hate Europeans, but...
So wait, no. So I want to hear, like, in your head, like, how talking about eco mode immediately makes you think of hating Europeans.
All right. Europeans love being smug towards Americans about shit, right? Like, oh, we're like imperialists and we're this and we're that. First of all, we've only been around for like a couple of 100 years, right? They've already gone through their maturation process where they were imperialists. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They took over the world. They like, so whatever. So they had wars on their continent. So it's understandable that they look at America as sort of like a child, you know, because they've gone through all this shit.
That's fine.
And one of the things that they love lording over Americans now is how the world is in like a climate crisis. Mm-hmm. And I acknowledge the world is in a climate crisis. And one of the things they make fun of Americans for is the fact that we use air conditioning. And they're like, we don't, like Germans don't use air conditioning. But I'm going to say this. If you look at a
no
world
problem putting the
map,
ovens on, though, right?
What?
They don't have a problem using the ovens, though, right? Not the air conditioners.
The Germans?
All right.
That's fucked up.
That was a clumsy delivery. Go on.
So, if you look at a map, Europe, longitudinally, is like much further north.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So, like, their summers are not as brutal as summers in the United States, and they're not as humid as summers in the United States. So the fact that, like, a German makes fun of, like, Americans or looks down on Americans for using air conditioning, why don't you come live in New York for the summer and let me know about, like, not using air conditioning?
Yeah, like on the second floor above a bodega. With the dumpster right outside the window.
Right. Where, like, the air is soup. Yeah. Like, you can walk across, like, the air to the building across from you. Because it's so fucking thick. Fucking Germans and Europeans in general.
Hell,
fuck them.
This is all over eco mode, huh?
So because the whole conversation was spurred by... We turned on the air conditioner in our studio, so if you hear a hum in the background... That's what you're hearing, but it's impossible to do the show without the air conditioner because it's very muggy. And for some reason, the air conditioner turns on in eco mode, so it probably like works for a while, and then like it just turns off, right? When it thinks like it's reached a certain temperature.
Yeah, when it thinks a normal human has reached a comfortable life.
Fuck that. We're Americans. We're going to cool this room to 67.
So when you said hum in the background, I was like, that's how we introduced ourselves. I'd have been like, hey, I'm Scott, the hum in the background. And you'd be like, hey, I'm Rusty, the drone in the foreground.
I'm the drone. Because I drone on and on and on.
That was cool. Now I'm coming up with names for both of us.
Listen.
Titles.
I will allow you to drone on and on.
No, because that wouldn't be funny.
No.
Then that joke wouldn't have worked.
Okay.
See, you just want to take away my jokes.
Honestly, I just have nothing to talk about.
You just want to take away my jokes.
I'm asking you to drone on.
Hey, I did hear something interesting. Oh, something interesting. Rockaway Beach, some woman got a leg bit by a shark tonight.
Today?
Yeah.
Oh.
A couple hours ago, actually. It was on all over the Citizen app.
Mm-hmm.
You ever use that fucking thing?
I used to.
It's cool for like no seconds.
I found that I wasn't getting like alerts that were interesting to me, and then I would find out that shit would go on in my neighborhood, but I wasn't getting like notifications for it. So it's like, what's the point? I would get notifications for shit that was happening like in other neighborhoods, even though I had like the GPS set to my neighborhood.
Like fucking people, stop what you're doing. Send us some live video of shit, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what are you going to do? Someone got attacked by a shark.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. You know when they say stupid shit like, the chance of you being attacked by a shark are 1 in 7.36 million.
Sure.
If I ain't ever go in the ocean, if I'm like someone who doesn't go in the ocean, my chances is zero. Zero chance I'm going to get eaten by a shark. So where'd they come up with those fucking numbers, man?
I did not understand.
Dude, I'm sorry.
I understand.
1 in 7 million chance of
that
getting
I understand.
eaten by a shark. I'm telling you, it's very possible my chance is zero of getting eaten by a shark because I don't go in the ocean.
Oh, well, it's not very possible. It's probable. Your chance is zero because you're not going in the water.
Knock, knock.
What?
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Land shark. Remember land shark?
Land shark who?
No, the land shark from, I think, Saturday Night Live.
I don't remember that skit.
All right,
Who was in that skit?
I don't know. It was a guy in a shark costume.
I don't remember. It sounds stupid.
It was
it would come through the door and like eat people. Yeah. I gotta say, like, there are certain skits on SNL that became like culturally like relevant that I don't fucking understand why. Like, that's not my humor. I know that's your humor. Like, you like that.
That's not entirely.
I don't get it.
But
I never got cheeseburger. Remember that skit with John Belushi? That was like one of the first like fucking skits.
I don't know.
You don't remember cheeseburger?
I don't. Because that's your type of humor.
It's not my type of humor. That's
but
my
you
point.
Remember it.
Yes, because it's like an iconic skit.
I'm just going to say this in defense of my humor, because you know how you meant that. In defense of my humor, that occupies a certain pie in my pie chart of humor. Mm-hmm. It's not the only thing I like, but I can appreciate that goofy stuff too.
Well, it's under the genre. It's like a subgenre of like your humor. You're like a ba-da-ba, like humor guy, you know? It's like a quick like strike, like a quick hit.
Yeah. So contact with the Voyager 2 spacecraft has been restored.
That's cool.
You were very excited about that.
I am very excited.
Well, you heard it had lost contact?
They had lost contact.
Because
yes.
of a mistake somebody made?
I thought that I didn't know.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, this thing's been in space for 45 years. How are you making mistakes?
It's a new guy. New guy's on the job, probably training.
Oh, yeah, the other guy's probably
the
dead,
original
man.
guy probably retired. Yeah. They brought on a new guy.
Yeah,
First
true,
week
yeah.
on the job, he pressed the wrong button. It's understandable.
So somehow the antenna was no longer facing directly at Earth, so they couldn't communicate with it. So they were sending blips through the deep space network towards it, trying to get it to realign with the hopes that it would get it, and it got it, and straightened out, and it's unfucking believable.
I don't even understand the math, the computations that are necessary for that.
How is it I can't find the remote sometimes in my own house? And they found Voyager 2 out past the Oort cloud or something.
I mean, in fairness, you're the only one looking for your remote, whereas like they have like a team of like scientists,
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, good point, man. And probably pretty smart people.
Like if you had a team of Scots looking for your remote, you'd probably find it much quicker. You'd be more successful.
I don't know.
You think they'd get distracted? They'd start watching Family Guy. One Scot would be like, "Yo, what? You got to see this Family Guy clip," and then all the other Scots would be forced to sit down and like watch like Family Guy clips. But then like they'd all like start laughing.
But you know what sucked though? Like if you had to, I had to turn to one Scot, tell him, then he had to tell the next Scot. And by the time it got to the last Scot, there were so many Scots that the last Scot missed the skit entirely. Because
so you had to start from the beginning.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because you can do that. Forgot you can rewind shit now.
It's not even rewind. You're not rewinding.
Yo, man,
it's digital.
So I was watching a TikTok video, and I've seen this on Reels, the Facebook version, that can't pause and like stop the video and replay it. Like it has to like play out. Am I missing something?
On TikTok, videos of certain length can be paused when you just touch the screen. That pauses the video, and at the bottom there's like a scroll bar, and you can move the scroll bar back and forth.
Sorry, they're all pausable, but I find some of them don't have a scroll bar.
If they're short, there's nothing to like. But what you do is you scroll to the next video, and then you just scroll back to the original video, and it restarts from the beginning.
You got tricks, man.
So that's a little
you got tricks.
hack.
That's a hack. Yeah, you got some
Little
TikTok
hack.
hacks. Nice.
Life pro tip.
Yeah. You had something delivered here the other day.
I did.
You didn't, actually. You had it delivered to you, and you delivered it here in the box it came in. So when I just thought about it, I thought it was delivered here.
That's Scott's way of saying I brought something over for our studio.
But you know what I'm saying, right? Like,
I know what you're saying. Yes, Scott, I know what you're saying.
So, Rusty has expressed his hate for people, so we've got prayer candles of Cardi B and Taylor Swift.
That's right.
And then dude shows up with a Carl Sagan prayer candle.
I don't hate Carl Sagan.
But that's what I'm saying. So we don't know if we should put him with them, or should we
maybe Carl Sagan's influence can rub off on Taylor Swift and Cardi B. Maybe Carl Sagan can rub off too.
I don't know
Taylor Swift and Cardi B.
In the condition he's in, but should we put him slightly above
Who
them?
would you rather? Cardi B or Taylor Swift?
Yeah, I don't know. Can I have till the end of the episode to get back to you on that?
No, right now.
Cardi B.
Why?
She's a freak.
See, but that's kind of scary too, you know? Like, you think you can handle Cardi B? She's got a wop.
Yo, what if I do the slat? What did that mean, by the way, earlier?
I don't know. I don't know what that song means. So we're listening to The Box by Roddy Ricch. So The Box, I've listened to the song, could mean many different things. The box could mean like a lady's box, not to be vulgar about it, you know, her coos.
Right. Because you want to be vulgar when you started this whole thing with, who would you rather?
What? Why is that vulgar?
You're right. That's not vulgar.
That's an expression of like sexuality and who would you rather. I would say coos is more vulgar. So the box could be about a woman's coos. It could be about like something in a car, like the engine or something. Or it could be like a money, like, you know, like a lockbox with money. I haven't figured out. It could be all three. So different verses can be about different things.
I don't think I've ever actually listened to the song like lyric-wise. It's just background music whenever I've heard it, so I don't really pay attention to it.
And I usually don't like, it's got like that, you know, like that triplets like sound. You know what a triplet sound is?
No.
I'm not really going to go into it, but it's got like that triplet sound that most like hip hop has had for like the last, 5-6 years. And that's like one of the only songs I like that's like written in that style.
All right, so smash them keys and let us know where Carl Sagan should be situated in relation to Cardi and Taylor.
Smash them keys.
Smash those keys.
Speaking of smashing those keys, we've got a YouTube channel. Go check that out. We've got a Patreon, patreon.com/Libel the Bible. Go check that out. Comments on YouTube. You know, that's the easiest way. You can leave comments, feedback, whatever the fuck you want. You fucking bunch of stiffs. I don't know. I don't care. Whatever the fuck you all want to do. Whatever you want to do.
I want some feedback, man. I want to know where to put Carl Sagan.
Speaking of feedback, we received a text today from our friend with a clip that was never before seen of like the Space Shuttle Challenger launch from back in '86. And it was like a Southern couple, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to make any assumptions, but based on how they were talking,
and the fact that it launches in Florida, you could pretty much say it's a Southern couple.
Right, but when I say Southern, I mean like, you know, like the stereotypical Southern. Oh, look at that! That's one of them rocket ships going up.
It sounds like a couple.
Yeah.
Talking to a neighbor.
Is that what it was?
That's what it sounded like to me. I only listened to the audio once.
I thought it was like a man and a woman talking, like a brother and a sister, you know, like having a dialogue.
Yeah, husband, wife, whatever.
Well, brother and sister, right. I said they're from the South.
You see that? See what we do there, man? I set them up, you knock them down, buddy.
That was perfect, Scott.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty fucked up like thing to watch. Go ahead, Scott. Explain to the audience why you're laughing.
I haven't touched the mouse pad for a second, so the screen shut off. And we had just talked about how annoying that is. And it just...
Because when the screen is on, like, Scott's whole face is lit up. And then all of a sudden the screen shuts off and it creates like a completely, like, Scott's face goes black, his body goes black. He's got like a white shirt on, so like the screen illuminates him.
No, no. I don't have a white shirt on. I don't have a shirt on.
You don't have a shirt on?
I'm very pale.
Oh, you're just a pale man. You are a pale man. So anyway, Scott, we're 14 minutes in, and honestly, I came over tonight with nothing. Nothing. Well, I'm struggling.
You got 14 minutes.
I'm struggling.
But to finish what Rusty was saying, yeah, it was a launch of the space shuttle from somebody's like handheld camcorder. Maybe it was on a tripod. I don't really know. No, I think it must have been on a tripod. It was pretty steady video.
Yeah, probably back then, you know, like 86.
It probably wasn't even real then if it was that steady. Anyway, it shows a very unique shot of the Space Shuttle Challenger launching way in the distance, and then it goes wrong, and they're just asking each other, does that look right? They might be having some trouble.
So they seem like they witnessed many launches before because they knew exactly where it was going to be. And the way they talked about, you know, the launch, it sounded like they'd seen a lot. And at a certain point when things go wrong, they were obviously like, that doesn't look right, does it? Yeah. And it's just, I don't know, it's a fucked up thing.
Just crazy that after all this time, you're seeing a new shot of it that you've never seen before.
Yeah. It would be like seeing like a new angle of like one of the planes, like going into like World Trade Center. Like by now, like whatever was recorded has been released, you know, like no one's sitting on footage of the plane crashing. Allegedly.
It's got, one of them will come out.
Allegedly the plane's crashing.
Yeah.
I still don't understand like all those conspiracy theories and like why they would make up conspiracy theories about that.
Well, listen, I don't mind people making up conspiracy theories, especially like on day one some shit happens, a theory's already out. I don't mind that. But when it persists and you honestly, really, really believe, like with your heart that this is true, based on nothing other than a suggestion that something could be a conspiracy theory.
And then everyone becomes like a structural engineer where they're like, jet fuel can't take down the steel girders, you know, like they went to like, you know, MIT and like studied all that shit.
And they were 100% wrong anyway.
So that's the situation, Scott.
That's the situation.
That's the situation.
Shit like that causes wars, man.
Speaking of wars.
Oh, look at that.
We are on 2 Samuel. We're starting 2 Samuel 8 tonight for everybody. Open up your Bibles to 2 Samuel, chapter 8, and it is David's Wars.
Are you a sound-making kind of guy?
I don't know what that means.
Like in your humor when like things go
in my
on,
what?
Like in your humor, like in your conversation.
In my humor? It sounds like you're like in your humor.
Like when you're talking, you go, so I rang the ding dong. You make sounds like and brrr, I don't know, make sounds when you talk. Like I don't know.
Not in real life. Like here, yes, with a microphone in front of me when I'm like trying to be entertaining, yes. But in real life, no, because I don't like to be jovial in real life. I'm very dour and off-putting.
Yeah, so maybe you should work. Maybe you should insert some drops, sound bites.
That's not a bad idea.
Why the hell was I even asking you that?
Because you just did a sound.
Right. So I did a. That's like the only sound I know I ever make.
That's the only sound that you know that you ever make. Yeah. So there are sounds that you make that you don't know about.
Possibly. Well, I don't remember. Well, not realizing I'm doing it. Like.
Do you want to make more sounds?
No. I want to know if I do make more sounds.
I'll let you know.
And is it the right amount of sound making, or is it too little, too much?
Like a trumpet sound.
Yeah, we could do that.
I'm struggling today, Scott. I mean, I don't know. I'm struggling today.
No, there's no struggles.
I'm struggling.
Yeah. Look what I'm feeding you.
Exactly. David's Wars. Sometime afterward, what, man? I feel like we should have read 7 or remembered 7.
Maybe there should be a previously on.
Sometime afterward, David attacked the Philistines and subdued them. David took Metheg Ammah out of the hand of the Philistines. He also defeated the Moabites, and making them lie down on the ground, measured them off with a cord. He measured 2 lengths of cord for those who were to be put to death, and 1 length for those who were to be spared. And the Moabites became servants to David and brought tribute.
Yo, David's a sick bastard. He made them lie on the ground, measured them off with a cord. He measured 2 lengths of cord for those who were to be put to death.
I don't understand
and
what
1
that
length
means.
So he's walking around with a cord. Like
No,
a
that I
measuring
understand.
You're
You're lying on the ground.
You're lying on the ground. He runs the cord out, and
Yeah.
he kills the first people that in the 2 cord length. He kills all those people. Then he lets 1 cord of length people survive, and then he moves on and kills.
Okay.
It's totally torture.
Yeah. So that's kind of like, you know where the word decimate comes from?
From decibels?
So the
Or
Roman,
10.
Yes,
10 decibels.
10 what?
What was the question?
Do you know where decimate comes from? Because it relates to this.
Taking wives? A mate?
Taking lives?
Wives. Wives.
Taking wives?
Taking a mate.
Okay. So the answer is
Decimate.
no, I don't know. But good guess. So the Roman legions, when they would like take over like a town or whatever, they would like line up the men and they would kill every 10th man. Decimate.
Nice.
So that's like sort of like the origin of decimate, I guess, except with him, it's not every 10th man. It's like every 2 men. I don't understand.
I watched some.
So wait, so if like 10 men are laying on the ground and he does like the cord, how many people is he? I don't understand this.
I don't know what length of cord is. So
Okay.
I don't know. So all right, so it's gonna he's gonna kill 10 guys, then let 5 live, then kill the next 10, let 5 live.
Sure.
I was watching. It's really awful. I'm going to talk about it just because I got now it's on my head, man. I got to get it out.
Go ahead.
I watched 2 horrifying videos of like some country in the Middle East. I don't know if it was when Afghanistan fell or Iraq fell to whoever it fell to, and they had guys lined up on the ground, laying down face first, and a guy walking over them, shooting each one in the back of the head.
Yeah.
Like they knew it was coming.
Yeah.
And that wasn't even the worst one I saw.
But that's what the Nazis did to like Jews. They would like just like execute them like that in the street.
It's insanity. Fucking insanity. One was even worse for me was there was like this little river bank, like this maybe like an aqueduct. It looked more like a manufactured aqueduct, like an old style stone aqueduct, and stairs coming down to it. And they had a line of dudes all blindfolded, hands behind their back. They walked them down the stone stairs, and at the bottom of the stairs was a guy that shot him in the head and threw him in the fucking river in the water.
Yeah.
It was they like why are you filming? I mean
Why
I know
did you
why
watch
they're filming.
that?
It's something.
Who sent that to you?
I don't know if I came across. I don't know how I came across it. It might have been on. I think I want to say it was television. Like it was like graphic shit. It was just it was ugh. I don't think I'll ever shake those images, man. I wouldn't watch that now.
David also struck down the king of Zobah, Hadadezer, son of Rehob, as he went to restore his monument at the river Euphrates. So the king of Zobah was Hadadezer, and David killed him. David took from him 1,700 horsemen and 20,000 foot soldiers. David hamstrung all the chariot horses, but left enough for 100 chariots. When the Arameans of Damascus came to help King Hadadezer of Zobah, David killed 22,000 men of the Arameans. Then David put garrisons among the Arameans of Damascus, and the Arameans became servants to David and brought tribute. The Lord gave victory to David wherever he went. David took the gold shields that were carried by the servants of Hadadezer and brought them to Jerusalem. From Betah and from Berothai, towns of Hadadezer, King David took a great amount of bronze.
Yo, this guy kicks some ass.
I mean, yeah, it's a war. He's fucking people up. He's taking no prisoners, and,
Why so many wars? Why?
He's just protecting his own people, man. These Philistines, they keep encroaching.
So, do you mean to tell me that just wave after wave of enemies comes at these people?
Yes.
All right. Maybe if you didn't hamstring all the horses, you'd have better karma. Like, why do you got to do that?
So that they can't use horses.
Yeah, man, take the horses with you, man.
Well, even human lives don't mean anything back then. So what the fuck is a horse's life mean to someone?
No, I figured that would be worth more, I guess. I don't know.
Nah, because you remember way back in Genesis, God told Adam, these fucking animals, they're here to do with whatever the fuck you want. You have dominion over all these animals. You want to pump a load into them?
All right. Just nice sufficed, all right?
I'm just saying. It's not like today where we've got all these laws.
King David took a great amount
Let
of
me ask
bronze.
you a question. There was a guy who was banging a horse, right? He would there was a farm. He would go to the farm. He would pull up he would pull up a stool, and he'd have intercourse with a horse, not to be crude. And he was arrested. Why? What is the law? You think the horse cares? Does a horse care if you're banging it?
Have you seen an erect horse, little Johnny? See how big those things are?
Yes.
The horse wouldn't even feel this fucking guy.
Why are you assuming that it was a female horse that he was doing? It could have been like a male. I'm not sure if it was a male or a female. I don't know if the guy was gay or heterosexual.
I said male or female horse? I just said he was fucking a horse.
No, because I thought you said that because a horse's cock is so big that a female horse wouldn't even feel like a regular human cock. I thought that's
what I meant. Right now I get what you're saying.
We are getting closer and closer to a solo show.
So what are we talking about?
David won a name for himself. I thought he already won a name for himself.
Where are you reading that?
Verse 13.
What happened 9 through 12?
I didn't read that. When King Toy of Hamath heard that David had defeated the whole army of Hadadezer, Toy sent his son Joram to King David to greet him and to congratulate him because he had fought against Hadadezer and defeated him. Now Hadadezer had often been at war with Toy. Joram brought with him articles of silver, gold, and bronze. These also King David dedicated to the Lord, together with the silver and gold that he dedicated from all the nations he subdued, from Edom, Moab, the Ammonites, the Philistines, Amalek, and from the spoil of the king of Zobah, Hadadezer, son of Rehob. David won a name for himself. When he returned, he killed 18,000 Edomites in the Valley of Salt. He put garrisons in Edom. Throughout all Edom, he put garrisons, and all the Edomites became David's servants, and the Lord gave victory to David wherever he went.
I'm going to tell you this, man. Based on what probably is a much smaller population back then, as a global population, these people are killing measurable percentages of the world's population.
I would say, back then, men, able-bodied men are probably all in the army. So he's wiping out, entire, men, entire cities of men.
Maybe we need these wars again, man.
Sure.
Cut down the population a little.
Can you elaborate?
Nah, there's just too many people, man.
Oh, so population control.
Yeah.
Bill Burr.
Guys, there's entertainment for us to watch on television because it's always happening over there.
Bill Burr suggested that you sink cruise ships because it's a decent cross-section of, all different kinds of people, so you're not, necessarily targeting anyone.
I think I might have heard this.
And you just, torpedo cruise ships.
Yeah. We're going to get right back to the show, but before we do, we'd like to invite you to come visit our Patreon.
Each week, we discuss a new topic at the intersection of society and religion.
We explore the encroachment of religion onto secular institutions, such as schools, workplaces, and government.
In addition, we'll investigate whether religion practices what it preaches.
So, after this episode, head on over to patreon.com/Libel to Bible and join in the conversation.
And now, back to the show. David's officers. So David reigned over all Israel, and David administered justice and equity to all his people. Joab, son of Zeruiah, was over the army. Jehoshaphat, son of Ahilud, was recorder. Zadok, son of Ahitub, and Ahimelech, son of Abiathar, were priests. Sariah was secretary. Benaiah, son of Jehoiah, was over the Cherethites and the Pelethites, and David's sons were priests.
All right. It took me that whole reading for me not to laugh.
Because of
Everything.
the names?
Because when you were reading this whole thing, I was like, you know what? Russ, you just read David's wars. I'll read David's officers. Right? So you started reading, and I scrolled down, and I realized, oh, that'd be fucked up because it's only one paragraph. Russ, you just read this whole thing. I'm just going to offer it out. And then you started, I saw all the names.
I did you a favor,
Yes,
kind
absolutely.
of, yes.
You did everybody a favor.
All right. So, I mean, David's at war, and Yahweh is guiding him to victory.
Oh, yeah, I guess. In the beginning of the book, he was, at least, the chapter.
So, look, if you scroll back up, in the very first sentence where it says sometime afterward, the afterward is David. Remember, David prayed to God. He was like, promise to me that you will like fucking solidify my legacy, that I will be great, that my kids, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's where we had left off. So that's why I say that Yahweh is guiding David. It even says it here. Like, we can go back and read it. So I don't know why you would argue with me.
I'm not arguing, man. I'm not even talking.
All right. Because you were kind of like, is he? And it's like, well, I mean, according to the book, yes. According to the book, Yahweh, this is Yahweh's doing.
I would gladly like to start reading the next thing, but can you just read the title for me? There ain't no way in fuck that's happening.
David's so we're on 2 Samuel 9. David's kindness to Mephibosheth. Mephibosheth. David's kindness to Mephibosheth.
Well, I'll take that.
Why not?
I'll take it. Pretty much anything you said. David asked, is there still anyone left of the house of Saul to whom I may show kindness for Jonathan's sake? Aww.
How about Micah, his wife?
Aww. That's a different kind of love, though. That's the love between a man and a woman.
But
That's not what we're talking about here.
But he's not going to give it to her anymore, remember?
Yeah.
She caught him peacocking, and he got all angry.
She'll get over that, man. Come on. She knows where the money's coming from.
But it literally says for the rest of her life, like...
Oh, that's right. They always, they skip to the end, and then, all right. Nah, maybe that's not true. Maybe that's not what really happened.
Hold out hope, Scott.
All right.
Hold out hope.
Now, there was a servant of the house of Saul, whose name was Ziba, and he was summoned to David. The king said to him, are you Ziba? And he said, at your service. The king said, is there anyone remaining of the house of Saul to whom I may show the kindness of God? Ziba said to the king, there remains a son of Jonathan. He is crippled in his feet. The king
we
said
do this
to
already?
No. The king
I remember
said,
there was a cripple, like a foot cripple person.
all right, there can't be more than one.
I guess back
They're
then.
that freaky? There's
Probably
only
back
one?
then there were a lot.
The king said to him,
Did polio exist back then?
probably. And like, how would they even diagnose it?
Well, why probably? What makes you say probably?
Because everything existed back there, man.
Did
Everything.
Coronavirus exist
Sure.
back then?
It just wasn't unleashed on the public until the time was right.
I gotcha. Good point.
By the NWO.
No, man, yeah, I got it. You're right. By the NWO, the New World Order?
Yeah.
I thought like the IMF or the World Bank.
Actually, you know what? Maybe polio didn't exist back then. Right? Did you ever hear any outbreaks of polio before, like the big outbreak of the early 20th century?
Maybe they didn't know what polio was. Well, yes, because Franklin Delano Roosevelt had polio.
Right. But was it here 150 years ago? Were people getting it 200 years ago? I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
Probably, yes. 200 years ago, probably.
The king said to him, where is he? Ziba said to the king, he's in the house of Machir, son of Amiel, at Lodabar. Then how low you set the bar? Then King David sent and brought him from the house of Machir, son of Amiel, to Lodabar.
At Lodabar.
At Lodabar, yeah. Okay, come on.
Now you go.
Come on, man.
Come on.
Mephibosheth.
Nice.
That wasn't so bad.
That was good. You did great. Yes,
Yeah.
that was better than me. I'm shocked.
Mephibosheth, son of Jonathan,
'Cause you don't
son
read.
of Saul, came to David and fell on his face and did obeisance. David said, Mephibosheth! He answered, I am your servant. David said to him, do not be afraid, for I will show you kindness for the sake of your father Jonathan. I will restore to you all the land of your grandfather Saul, and you yourself shall eat at my table always. He did obeisance and said, what is your servant, that you should look upon a dead dog such as I?
I don't understand. What does he mean when he says that I will restore to you all the land of your grandfather Saul? Saul was the king of Israel. What does that mean that he's going to restore his land? He's going to like give him all the land of Israel?
Maybe just his ancestral lands. Maybe
Is it
not
called
his...
Israel at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, they're called Israel, right?
Well, they're called the tribes of Israel because
Yeah,
Israel
maybe-
was a person,
Maybe they haven't named the place
and they're
yet.
Israelites.
It's still...
Is the land Israel
I think it's still Canaan, man.
the
Ain't it
land of
Canaan?
the Israelites?
What
I don't know.
Maybe it's the hill country of
Goth.
Ephraim. Ephraim. Yeah. All right, so he's sweet on Jonathan's son.
Yes.
Why'd you say it like that?
I don't know.
Then the king summoned Saul's servant Ziba and said to him, all that belonged to Saul and to all his house I
Is
have
Ziba
given
the
to
guy
you.
that invented that shitty drink in the fucking 90s that everybody was drinking?
Maybe not just him, because his name is Ziba.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there was somebody with a M, so they combined and became Zima.
Zima. Okay. What was that?
It was a malt liquor.
It was malt liquor?
Yeah.
So it was beer? Like a beer?
malt liquor.
Not like a vodka or wine
No,
cooler?
no. It was like a very weird concoction.
What happened
man.
to wine coolers? What's
I
the
think
wine
they
cooler
still
now?
have
Like
them.
hard seltzer or hard...
Bottles and James.
No, but like today, like what are kids drinking now? Like it's like hard seltzers, I think.
Yeah.
That's the thing
why
today.
why are kids drinking these?
Why are kids drinking seltzer?
Stay hydrated, man.
But why not water? Seltzer's fucking awful. I don't get like carbonated water,
But there's alcohol in it.
but it's seltzer.
But it's a hard seltzer. The hard part is the alcohol.
All right.
It's to
The
get
hard
fucking-
part is understanding why anyone's drinking it.
to get fucked up.
You got to drink a lot of it though. Just drink like a real fucking liquor, like we did in
yeah, I
school, in the nurse's office.
Yo, you don't get anybody in trouble, man.
Come on, man. These kids today are fucking weak.
Then the king summoned Saul's servant Ziba and said to him, all that belonged to Saul and to all his house I have given to your master's grandson. You and your sons and your servants shall till the land for him and shall bring in the produce, so that your master's grandson may have food to eat, but your master's grandson Mephibosheth shall always eat at my table. So, all right, they're setting up the whole land, and he's kidnapping Mephibosheth. Basically, he's giving up all this land to the family as like hush money for him stealing fucking Jonathan's son. Yeah, you keep staring at me like you don't know.
I mean, yeah, David is a weird dude, man. I don't get it.
Now Ziba had 15 sons and 20 servants. Then Ziba said to the king, according to all that my lord the king commands his servant, so your servants will do. Mephibosheth ate at David's table, like one of the king's sons. Mephibosheth had a young son whose name was Micah, and all who lived in Ziba's house became Mephibosheth's servants. Mephibosheth lived in Jerusalem, for he always ate at the king's table. Now he was lame in both his feet.
Wait, was he lame in both feet before?
I guess not, no. He was crippled in the foot. They said crippled in the feet, but they should have said crippled in the foot.
You know what's happening? I'll
Gout.
tell you what's happening.
Fucking gout.
Gout is a good first assumption. I'm going to posit that it's lead poisoning. because he probably was like a dirt shit like fucking nobody who probably had a drink from like some wood fucking like chalice. Now he's like in the palace of the fucking king, and they're drinking from like gold and silver and like who knows what the fuck, and they're fucking all like getting lead poisoning.
And might be concocting with his shit inside, like his leads mixing with their gold. You don't
All
know, who
that.
the fuck knows what's going on
All
there.
that.
They must have said Mephibosheth like 9 times in the last 3 sentences.
By the way, that was on purpose. They
What?
want people to like fuck it, read it and sound stupid.
Or they really want you to remember Mephibosheth.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say this is probably the first and last time we're going to hear of this person. That's my prediction.
Yeah.
You predict otherwise?
I think we hear about him again. Absolutely.
Okay.
He's eating at David's table every night. He's a poor substitute for his buddy Jonathan, his love Jonathan that he lost.
Because David wants him eating under the table. You know what I'm saying?
You know why he picked this son, right? It's the one that looked most like him.
He picked this son because he's got a little son, right?
Now he does.
Right. That's why David's
Oh,
picking him.
and
He's grooming. He's going to groom the son. You know how these fucking liberals do.
He picked the crippled foot one, so he couldn't get away.
Right. He can't run.
Yeah.
I'm almost certain we talked about this already.
On the week.
There was already like a situation with a cripple.
That couldn't run from you? No, that wasn't. You were not talking about that with me.
No, not me.
In a cinder block room? Some shackles on the wall?
All right. Let's go to 2 Samuel 10.
Let's go.
Good, Scott.
The Ammonites and our Arameans are defeated. Hold on, my screen wasn't set up here.
What's the matter?
What's
the matter, man?
He said read
The
it.
audience deserves to know.
Yo, I wasn't scrolled to the right position where the text appeared above my microphone arm.
Okay.
So I was looking like this. You see what I'm looking through? I'm looking through this stuff.
I have a question.
I'm going to raise it up. I said I was going to raise it up.
When they used to put missing children on milk cartons back in the day,
Yeah.
was that because there was like a massive endemic of like kidnapped children? Or was that just like a technique that they used back then before like social media? Like today they don't put kids on milk cartons. Is that because like we've solved the problem? Like there's not as many kids being taken? Because people are always like, we grew up in a time where we used to just be able to like, let our kids go and and then they'd wind up on milk cartons. You know what I mean?
Listen, nobody's saying it was the perfect parenting.
Like
back
parents today, they're just helicopter parents and
That is-
and we get to keep our kids.
then. That is hilarious. If there's an actual correlation between the number of missing kids then and now.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
it's hilarious.
and it was always like, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are? It was
Yeah.
like,
fuck no. I
Yeah.
don't know where they are.
today it's like, it's 10 p.m. If you don't know where your children are, they're going to get taken away from you and put into foster care.
Or it's possible that these kids were put on the milk carton like immediately. As soon as they heard the report that Joe Blow went missing, they slap it on the milk carton and get it out the next morning.
But they're really not missing. And then
the-
the kid's picture's like on the milk carton for like years to come.
And the evidence of this is, are you set up for like New York City alerts on your like text messaging alerts and stuff?
No.
Well, I'll just say this: there's like a missing child persons report.
Amber Alert.
Like
I am set up for that.
Yeah. All right.
I
so-
think everyone is by default.
All right. Well, anyway, the Amber Alerts come in, and they're always canceled like 13 minutes later, 3 hours later. It's always the father. Just went to pick the kid up.
Well, that's usually it is the father.
But it's
who kidnaps their children.
but it's canceled right away. So I'm saying they weren't really kidnapped. It was a false alarm is what I'm saying, man. So maybe there weren't that many missing kids on the milk cartons either. It's just you couldn't pull the milk cartons back.
You're so cynical, Scott. I'd like to think that they were missing kids.
You know what? I'm going to have to look that word up in our vocabulary list too. Sometime afterward, the king of the
Again,
Ammonites
sometime
died.
afterward. Sometime after what? The dinner that they had?
Yeah, it seems like this guy's
Or the whole chapter
this
that we
writer's
just
got
read.
this writer's got a pattern, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. See, I got a pattern.
Sometime
If
afterward.
you don't like it, go read another book. Maybe you want to become a Zoroastrian, see?
Did I ask this question once, like when the Bible was real popular? When it came out? I don't know. Were there a lot of other books to be reading, man? Or do you think the majority of books were the Bible?
Well, the Bible became super popular when the printing press came out, because that's
sure.
when it was published in all different languages.
Now I'm talking
Other
about
than
before
Latin.
that, man. Before the printing press.
Before that, it was not. It was people didn't read. People didn't know how to read before that. It was read to them in church. People didn't own books. So the answer is no. The only books were like books that were illuminated in like monasteries, because they had to be handwritten, and you can only read if you were wealthy. So books like Don Quixote were popular, like the Odyssey, like ancient books. But like other books were not being printed, so no, it was not popular.
All right. Is there any coincidence that once people learned how to read and got out of the churches where people were telling them what they needed to hear, and then once the Bible went widespread, printing in general, human evolution started like technologically like leaps and bounds. Like, thank you, church.
Do you remember the name?
How long did it take me to get to that point? Does that feel like a long time?
Well, the problem is that we were getting to that point until fucking Christianity was co-opted by the Roman Empire.
No, I meant did it take a long time for me to get to that point. So I was like, dude,
what, to literacy?
To the point. Just go on, man. Yeah, so thank you, church. Yeah. Church is a good thing. Sometime afterward, the king of the Ammonites died, and his son Hanun succeeded him. David said, I will deal loyally with Hanun, son of Nahash, just as his father dealt loyally with me. So David sent envoys to console him concerning his father. When David's envoys came into the land of the Ammonites, the princes of the Ammonites said to their lord Hanun, do you really think that David is honoring your father just because he has sent messengers with condolences to you? Has not David sent his envoys to you to search the city, to spy it out, and to overthrow it?
This is why you can't have women in charge of shit, man. They're too suspicious. Iodine, leave a message. Let me know what you think about that one.
Yeah, what made you reference a woman, though? Were you just throwing that out for...
Wasn't that a sister? The princess. Oh, the princess. The princes.
That's all right. That's understandable. I miss an S here and there once in a while.
I was. You know what it is? I hadn't said anything misogynistic since I said coos. So like I've been itching to like really say some misogynistic shit.
You've been itching? Bad. You've been itching, you said?
Yeah, I've been itching my balls.
Maybe it's from that bad coos you keep talking about.
Oh, there's no such thing as bad coos.
So, to search the city, to spy it out, and to overthrow it? So Hanun seized David's envoys, shaved off half the beard of each, cut off their garments in the middle at their waists, and sent them away.
He shaved off half the beard of each. Which way did he shave the beards? Did he shave it like he shaved off the left side of the face, or like the horizontal half or vertical half?
I kind of think he had like an electric buzzer on him.
No, he didn't have an electric
buzzer. And he lined
buzzer.
them up, and he was just dancing gleefully and just slapping at their heads with it. And however the cut went, the cut went. So everybody
sort of
was
like
different.
the Iraqis executing the people like in the aqueduct.
But in a much more dancing Mikhail Baryshnikov kind of way.
The beards. Is that like a religious thing? And then like this is like the ultimate insult. He's like shaving off their beards. Know what I mean?
Oh, like a complete like insult to like
Yeah, it's like a slap with like a white glove across the face if you're like a pansy in like 18th century France.
But doesn't that lead to a duel sometimes?
Yeah.
So that's not being a pansy.
All right.
You know where that leads.
Have
you fuck around with a white glove, you're gonna find out.
Have you seen the guns that they used in those duels?
Listen, man, I still do not want to get into a duel. When David was told, he sent to meet them, for the men were greatly ashamed. The king said, remain at Jericho until your beards have grown, and then return.
Yeah, see? So, like, shaving the beards, man, that's like a sign of major disrespect.
When the Ammonites saw that they had become odious to David...
There's that word, odious.
Odious.
I used to use that word a lot, and you were like, what's odious mean?
He was the guy that could shapeshift in Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Odious?
Yeah. The Ammonites sent and hired the Arameans of Beth Rehob.
He died recently.
And I know. Now my flow just died, man.
I knew him from Benson. Remember the show Benson?
Yeah, I never really watched it.
But you remember the show.
Yes, I know the show. You know what's sad? You know how he had that misshapen looking face? Like when he was a shapeshifter? It wasn't that different in real life.
They couldn't really afford a lot of makeup, so they had to hire an actor that was kind of banged out looking.
Yo,
He had a weird
shit,
name.
man.
What was he? He was French?
Rene Auberginois.
Was he like French-Canadian?
Rene Auberginois.
I gotta say, French-Canadians, it's like, you ain't French. You're Canadian.
Who's more Canadian, like regular Canadian or French Canadian?
Regular Canadians.
Okay.
French Canadians don't want to admit that they're Canadian. There was like a whole movement to secede.
Really?
Yeah, like the Quebecois.
Like what portion would succeed?
What?
Which portion would break off?
Quebec. The Quebecois.
Is that what you said? I just thought you were making
People
those weird noises we talked about earlier.
People from Quebec are Quebecois. So like you're a New Yorker, they're Quebecois.
Gotcha. What native name is that ripped from?
What?
What native name was that stolen
Exactly.
from? You know?
The tribe of Quebec.
Yeah.
The
And what
Quebec
name was
tribe.
that stolen from? When the Ammonites saw that they had become odious to David, the Ammonites sent and hired the Arameans of Beth Rehob and the Arameans of Zobah, 20,000 foot soldiers, as well as the king of Makkah. Makkah! 1,000 men.
That's
and
a
the men
sound
of
that you
Tob.
made. That's a new sound.
Yes. Come to think of it, I've made that sound before. The king of Makkah, 1,000 men, and the men of Tob, 12,000 men. When David heard of it, he sent Joab and all the army of the warriors. The Ammonites came out and drew up in battle array at the entrance of the gate. But the Arameans of Zobah and of Rehob and the men of Tob and Makkah were by themselves in the open country. All right, so these dudes hired an army. It's like this is like Putin hiring the Wagner group to invade Ukraine.
This is all because David decided to be nice to these people. Allegedly. He decided to be nice, but then the princes poisoned the mind of the person that David was trying to be nice to, and now all this situation has arisen.
Yeah, this is why karma heads have to prevail.
You know what it is?
Way too much he said, she said here.
People are coming in hot all the time because they're like drinking.
That's true, yeah.
Like
that
you.
is true.
You know, like you
Whoa.
drink and you start coming in hot all the time.
This is the second podcast in a row of 2 out of 3 that I have not drank
That's
during
true.
the podcast.
That's true. It's very commendable, Scott.
Yeah, because I prefer a good sober podcast.
Listen, I commend you because you've decided that your health is more important than the quality of this podcast. And I think that's very commendable.
Wait a minute, I see what you did there. When Joab saw that the battle was set against him, both in front and in the rear, he chose some of the picked men of Israel and arrayed them against the Arameans. The rest of the troops he put in the charge of his brother Abishai, and he arrayed them against the Ammonites. Oh, Abishai. We heard that name before, right?
I don't care.
Yeah, Joab.
We've heard a lot of fucking names before.
He said, if the Arameans are too strong for me, then you shall help me. But if the Ammonites are too strong for you, then I will come and help you. Be strong, and let us be courageous for the sake of our people and for the cities of our God, and may the Lord do what seems good to him. So Joab and the people who were with him moved forward into battle against the Arameans, and they fled before him. When the Ammonites saw that the Arameans fled, they likewise fled before Abishai and entered the city. Then Joab returned from fighting against the Ammonites and came to Jerusalem. So it looks like David's boys got the job done.
Do you realize how much death and destruction has been left in the wake of David?
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. So much. So much death.
Do you remember any of it?
Do I remember what?
The death and destruction.
Yeah, how could you not? How could you ever forget the
I'm
death
not just
and
talking about
destruction?
today, from today's reading. I'm talking about like since David has been introduced.
When was that?
From the time that he was like, remember he was on the run from Saul. So then he
baby.
he like hung out with like the fucking whatever, the Hittites, I don't know, one of those fucking tribes. and he was like killing people. He's like constantly like fucking engaged in battle and war and murder.
Man, does the whole place smell of blood all the time?
It probably smells of heat and fucking camel shit and.
Huh. But when the Arameans saw that they had been defeated by Israel, there you go, by Israel. But like you said, is it the country, city-state, or
it's Israel?
It's been named.
It's Israel. Yes.
They cracked the champagne against it on the map.
Israel, yes.
All right.
They cracked the champagne against it on the map.
They christened the new country.
I got it. I understand.
But when
I was just repeating your genius for the audience to like soak it in.
But when well, you would be soaked if you broke the fucking bottle.
I'm gonna soak you right now.
But when the Arameans saw that they had been defeated by Israel, they gathered themselves together. Gross. Hadadezer sent and brought out the Arameans who were beyond the river, and they came to Halam with Shobach, the commander of the army of Hadadezer, at their head. When it was told David, he gathered all. That comma's in the wrong spot, right?
When it was told David. Right?
It's weird,
when they
right?
told David.
No. When it was
when
told
David found out.
He gathered. He should rewrite this thing. He gathered all Israel together and crossed the Jordan and came to Halam. The Arameans arrayed themselves against David and fought with him. The Arameans fled before Israel, and David killed of the Arameans 700 chariot teams and 40,000 horsemen, and wounded Shobach.
I'm sorry, stop. When they say David killed, they mean like he ordered his men, right? They don't mean like David literally killed like all these people the way Samson like stole the gates of that town, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he ordered it.
Okay.
Man. Could you imagine? Like you show up with 20,000 dudes and none of them even have to flinch?
Because he would be the greatest serial killer like in the history of the world.
No, he'd be like a powered up freaking video game guy.
A powered up video game guy. A gamer?
No, the character the gamer would play. He'd be like, finish him, guys.
I got you. Okay.
Somebody smashing them keys, The Arameans fled before Israel, and David killed of the Arameans 700 chariot teams and 40,000 horsemen, and wounded Shobach, the commander of their army, so that he died there. When all the kings who were servants of Hadadezer saw that they had been defeated by Israel, they made peace with Israel and became subject to them. So the Arameans were afraid to help the Ammonites anymore.
I'm glad you brought up a shark earlier, because we are jumping the shark with this episode. This is a jump the shark episode.
Oh, not because of us or because of what we're reading?
Because of us. No, what we're reading is great.
We jumped the shark, man.
I think if we did this episode a week from now or like another day, I bet you it would be a better episode than this one. Now, listen.
Wait, you want to do that? We don't deny the listeners a new episode on every Tuesday, but we'll give them a second episode 1 week. We'll finish this episode, and then we'll re-record it in a couple of days.
Well,
and then we'll have an actual comparison. They'll smash the keys for that.
What I would want to do is if we re-recorded, like, not re-recorded, if we did, like, another version of, I would go back to the beginning and, like, redo, like, Genesis 1, Genesis 2, like, now that we are so honed and skilled at our craft.
You just said we jumped the shark, though.
With this episode, that's why we got to do the rewind. We got to go, woo.
All right.
You know how fucking shows do when they jump the shark? They start mining material from the past.
I'm just imagining, like, this show being rebooted and starting from the beginning again.
We do it for Patreon. Like,
We'll talk further about this.
Yeah.
We should. What if we? No. What if we read it backwards? By book.
I'm coming up with real ideas. Scott wants to read backwards.
Right.
2 Samuel 11. David commits adultery with Bathsheba. If anything, he should have fucked Beersheba.
No, back then you wanted to fuck Bathsheba, the one that took a bath.
That's true. That's a good
It's
point,
probably
Scott.
goat's milk, though, right?
You don't think they have water?
Not enough to be like bathing in.
The River Jordan.
You know what a cesspool that fucking thing? There's like
problem
bodies
is-
floating down that
There's
river.
bodies. Plus, they have all those like stone tablets with the rules written on them. You know, like their constitution is like all fucking up and down the river. All right. David commits adultery with Bathsheba. In the spring of the year, the time when kings go out to battle. Is that the time that kings go out to battle? That's not what I heard about spring. I heard, like, you know, that's like when flowers bloom and, like, you know. Like,
Yeah, spring showers bring May flowers and all that stuff.
Apparently, back then, it's when kings go out to battle.
Yeah.
David sent Joab with his officers and all Israel with him. They ravaged the Ammonites and besieged Rabbah. But David remained at Jerusalem. It happened late one afternoon when David rose from his couch and was walking about on the roof of the king's house that he saw from the roof a woman bathing. The woman was very beautiful. David sent someone to inquire about the woman. It was reported, "This is Bathsheba, daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite." So David sent messengers to get her, and she came to him, and he lay with her. Now she was purifying herself after her period. Wait a second. So this isn't this.
just
that
happened?
was in parentheses, and it doesn't seem like the word period. That seems like a modern like way of saying it. I would like to know how it was really said.
Oh, yeah, good point.
So David sent messengers to get her, and she came to him, and he lay with her. Now she was purifying herself after her period.
Hold
Oh,
on a
you
sec.
understand what's going on, bro?
Hold on
It's
a sec.
after her period. She's ovulating right now, probably. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, after like a broad's period, that's like when they're fertile.
Is it possible? Okay. The stuff
What
in
do you?
is it possible the stuff in parentheses means this isn't the actual wording of it? This was clarified at a later date?
It's possible, yes.
Because you think they had parentheses back in the Bible days? Think they've been invented yet?
No.
Right? Good
No.
point. We got to find out. If
How
there's
would
any
they
point-
write asides?
Maybe they didn't write asides, man. Maybe it wasn't the style.
Then she returned to her house. The woman conceived, and she sent and told David, "I am pregnant." Oh, so I like how you gave me that side glance when I was like, it's after her period. That's when they ovulate. That's when they're fertile. And you're like, all right, like, I never heard of that before.
I don't recall giving you a side glance, and we'll let the viewers at home determine if there was a side glance.
Exactly. So David sent word to Joab, send me Uriah the Hittite. And Joab sent Uriah to David. When Uriah came to him, David asked how Joab and the people fared and how the war was going. Then David said to Uriah, "Go down to your house and wash your feet." Uriah went out. Why? Uriah went. What's so funny?
All right, finish.
That he had stinky feet?
No. That he calls her into his house.
This is the father of the woman that he knocked up, right?
I was too busy laughing. Hold on. What?
I think this is the father of the woman that he knocked up. No?
Oh, I didn't get that impression.
No, I think they said who the woman was. This is Bethesda. Oh, no, she's daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah. So she's the daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah. So she's, if you go up to 2 Samuel verse 3. You seeing it?
David sent someone to inquire about the woman. It was reported, "This is Bathsheba, daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite."
Right.
Oh, wait. This the husband?
Uriah is the father of the woman that he had sex with.
This is Bathsheba, daughter of Eliam.
She's
The
the
wi-
daughter
oh,
of a
gotcha,
woman named
gotcha.
Eliam,
Gotcha.
the wife of Uriah.
Got it.
You got it?
I got it.
Okay. If anyone else needs me to explain it a 9th time in the audience, smash those keys and let me know.
So, wait, Uriah is summoned before the king, and
Yes.
the king goes, Go down to your house and wash your feet.
No. First, he does like all this weird small talk. You know, when Uriah came to him, David asked how Joab and the people fared and how the war was going. And I thought the next line was going to be, and oh, by the way, I knocked up your daughter. But instead it's like, ew. You dirty piece of fucking shit. What are you, a hobbit?
Oh, my
Go wash
God.
your fucking feet.
He should have checked the genes of the woman. Like, he should have checked out the family before, committing to this relationship.
Uriah went out of the king's house, and there followed him a present from the king. But Uriah slept at the entrance of the king's house with all the servants of his lord, and did not go down to his house. When they told David, Uriah did not go down to his house, David said to Uriah, you have just come from a journey. Why did you not go down to your house? Uriah said to David, the ark and Israel and Judah remain in booths, and my lord Joab and the servants of my lord are camping in the open field. Shall I then go to my house to eat and to drink and to lie with my wife? As you live and as your soul lives, I will not do such a thing. Then David said to Uriah, remain here today also, and tomorrow I will send you back. So Uriah remained in Jerusalem that day. On the next day, David invited him to eat and drink in his presence, and made him drunk. And in the evening, he went out to lie on his couch with the servants of his lord, but he did not go down to his house. What's happening?
Wait a minute. David invited him to eat and drink in his presence and made him drunk. And in the evening, he went out to lie on his couch with the servants of his lord, but he did not go down to his house. What? Who?
Uriah went on David's couch, and he was like all drunk, and he was like hanging out with his servants.
Right. He was tapping the help.
What's happening?
I'm not sure here. Does David feel bad?
I don't know what's happening.
Oh, no, he doesn't feel bad.
No, he doesn't feel bad.
I just read...
Because the heading for the next section is David has Uriah killed.
Well, he might have felt bad at the beginning, and then maybe Uriah got troublesome and just droned on and on about shit. So then he had him killed.
I don't understand. All right. In the morning, David wrote a letter to Joab and sent it by the hand of Uriah. In the letter, he wrote, set Uriah in the forefront of the hardest fighting, and then draw back from him, so that he may be struck down and die. As Joab kept watch over the city, he assigned Uriah to the place where he knew there were valiant warriors. The men of the city came out and fought with Joab, and some of the servants of David among the people fell. Uriah the Hittite was killed as well. Then Joab sent and told David all the news about the fighting, and he instructed the messenger, when you have finished telling the king all the news about the fighting, if the king's anger rises, and if he says to you, why did you go so near the city to fight? Did you not know that they would shoot him from the wall? Who killed Abimelech, son of Jerubbaal? Did not a woman throw an upper millstone on him from the wall so that he died at Thebez? Why did you go so near the wall? Then you shall say, your servant Uriah the Hittite is dead too.
So David would flip out, and the guy would just say, by the way, that asshole you wanted dead is dead too. So David would just chill out over this?
So David wants him dead, and David told Joab, send him to the front line and then just draw back. But Joab, it seems like he didn't just send him to the front line and pull back. It seems like he pulled some risky fucking attack, like a fucking crazy attack. That maybe David would not have been down with.
And go back to verse 21, man. I think you kind of pronounced that name wrong, man.
Verse 21.
Yeah.
Who killed Abimelech?
That's not Abimelech?
Abimelech. What did I say? Abimelech?
Yeah, we had a whole song, man.
I gotta say,
Abimelech.
I'm woozy from all these fucking names. Abimelech. So the messenger went.
In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight.
And came and told David all that Joab had sent them to tell. The messenger said to David, the men gained an advantage over us and came out against us in the field, but we drove them back to the entrance of the gate. Then the archers shot at your servants from the wall. Some of the king's servants are dead, and your servant Uriah the Hittite is dead also. David said to the messenger, thus you shall say to Joab, do not let this matter trouble you, for the sword devours no one, and now don't let this matter trouble you, for the sword devours now one and now another. Press your attack on the city and overthrow it, and encourage him. When the wife of Uriah heard that her husband was dead, she made lamentation for him. When the mourning was over, mourning, M-O-U-R, was over, David sent and brought her to his house, and she became his wife and bore him a son. Yo, this guy's banging his daughter, and now he's banging his wife.
This is just, it's insanity.
Nathan condemns David is the next section. But the thing that David had done displeased the Lord. And that,
comma,
is where we will end today's episode, I think.
I have a feeling we're going to have to read the that last sentence again before we start.
Just as like
episode.
A reminder?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and when you go to like 2 Samuel 12, like it doesn't even have like a heading at the top.
Yeah, this is just a bad page break.
It's
again.
Bad editing, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
How about our editing, man?
What's that?
How about our editing? We don't edit anymore.
We don't edit at all.
Yeah.
Why? Everything we say stays in the fucking recording because everything we say by definition is important.
I know, but these episodes that you think we would do so much better if we recorded them again, you just do it in post, man. You make the episode what you need it to be.
What I'm going to really do is I'm going to take like your voice and I'll take like, words and then just combine the words together and like make you say like crazy fucking shit.
You could probably just grab snippets of this show and do that.
All right. I got to say, I'm really like mentally tired today, and we've done like a little over an hour, about an hour 10. We've done like 3 chapters, I think. I'm pretty done for today. What do you say? You done? You done?
I'm fine with that, but I think what it's going to get you jazzed up is the Patreon we're going to record right after this.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening.
No, man, you're tricking the man.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We're gonna, man.
That, man.
Yeah, go check out our Patreon. New episode coming up.
Damn it.
No, but we actually released an episode last week. I don't even remember what the fuck we talked about.
It was something at the intersection of society and religion.
No, it was definitely that. Yeah. So go check out that conversation. And I guess we'll see you.
Wait, don't they owe us homework?
What?
They owe us homework.
Do they?
Oh, the Carl Sagan candle.
What's the homework?
Where's he going to be positioned?
Oh, up Scott's ass.
You're not allowed to vote in either our members of your family or anyone else who's won in the last 60 days.
Well, what basis do they have to determine where it's going to be positioned?
Whatever pictures you've shown, or just who cares? Just in relation to Taylor and
Our
Cardi.
altar.
What?
I think he should go at the head of the altar,
What does that mean? Is that like a code for something?
or maybe behind. So
Yeah.
he can be behind Cardi B and Taylor Swift, and they can't see what he's doing while he's behind them. You know what I'm
You
saying?
know what he's doing.
Yeah, you know.
Exploring strange new worlds.
Tell me, what is your number one reason for liking Carl Sagan?
He is the science voice I grew up with throughout my childhood.
He
No.
smoked weed. All right. See you next time, everybody. No?
No,
No? You have more to say?
I thought you cut it.
I didn't. No, we're still going.
What'd you say? Oh, because he smoked weed.
Yeah.
That's just stupid. I didn't know he smoked weed that way.
Yeah, he smokes weed. Well, he smoked weed.
So you think subconsciously, even as a kid, like I picked up on all that, and as I became an adult and approved of that kind of thing.
You've heard him talk,
So-
right?
Yeah, of course.
A sober person doesn't talk like that. He's like all mellow and chill.
Oh, so wait, that guy that used to do the happy tree paintings.
Yeah.
He was just fucking on weed too, man.
That guy was 100% smoking fucking weed, bro.
Yeah.
100%. Bob Ross is his name.
Yeah.
You're like the only person on the planet, I think. By the way, there's a Roku channel, a Bob
That
Ross
way, I'm the only
Roku
person on
channel.
the planet that thinks what?
You're the only person that doesn't know his name. Even like
I
kids
know his
name
name.
now. Oh, do you? You didn't say it.
I
You're
said
like the
happy,
guy.
that doesn't mean. Listen, just because I don't say the words doesn't mean I don't know the words.
That's true. That's
all
true.
you
That
said.
is true. Just because you don't say the words, Scott, I owe you an apology.
You don't owe me shit, man.
I owe you an apology.
You owe the fans an apology.
Look at me, Scott.
You owe the fans an
Look
apology.
at my eyes.
I'm not looking at your ass.
All right, everybody. I'm out of here.
Later.